Welcome back to Wrestling World. Today we have a few interesting topics to discuss. We'll discuss the one former WWE individual that believes both Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville should be fired and fined for breaking kayfabe, and how Jon Moxley just basically played a role in getting some fans banned from the Thunderdome. So let's get into today's wrestling news. Starting off with the individual that believes WWE should take action on Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville for destroying kayfabe. Kayfabe is a wrestling term that's been around for a long time. Just to break it down and better explain the term, it basically is another word for WWE immersion. As the viewer, everything we see on WWE television, we're supposed to see as reality. For example, Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio's family have been at battle with each other for months on television this year. We're supposed to get that impression that they truly dislike each other both inside and outside of the ring because of their storyline from this year. So if we see a backstage image of Dominic hugging Seth Rollins, you can argue that they're breaking kayfabe and ruining that WWE immersion for the viewers. That's basically what the term represents. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's take a look at the actual story. Former WWE employee Jim Cornette spent a long time with the WWE early on in his career, but Jim is making headlines this week for his comments about the Sonya Deville-Mandy Rose situation that took place in Sonya's home. The entire break-in and that horrific night for Mandy and Sonya. Jim had a lot of things to say during his podcast, and I wanted to cover his comments because there's a lot of things I disagree with. So what did he actually say? Let's sum it up. Jim was saying that Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville should be fired, or at least fined, for how the entire break-in broke kayfabe for their storyline. He also suggested to wait for everything to calm down a bit and to fire Mandy Rose and Sonya 6 months from now. It also seemed like he would have liked for them to put a kayfabe spin on this real-life situation as well. I can't agree with anything he really suggested there, and let me explain why. I'm all for keeping stories alive outside of the ring and keeping that immersion intact, that Mandy and Sonya can't stand each other. But with this specific situation, it's completely different. This event that happened at Sonya's home is bigger than WWE and is way more important than keeping a SummerSlam story intact. Obviously, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville are still best friends in real life, but they can't stand each other on WWE television. So Mandy Rose often stays at Sonya's home just to hang out with her best friend. There's nothing wrong with that at all. If the break-in never happened and they would have just been on Instagram Live, just showing themselves hanging out, having a good time, then you might have a valid case of saying, hey, you're seriously ruining the storyline. But that wasn't the case at all. Mandy, Sonya, and a few other friends were just having a small private get-together to watch UFC that night. If it wasn't for that horrific break-in, then the public would have never known they were together in the first place. Like I mentioned before, it's not like they posted a picture together on Instagram, sitting on a couch or something like that. We only found out about them hanging out together because of the horrific events that happened later that same night. For the 80s, the 90s, the Attitude Era, and for a majority of the Ruthless Aggression Era, there was no social media. There wasn't any internet at all. All we got was what we saw on WWE television. There was no social media or backstage rumors online. It was so easy for WWE to keep that kayfabe and immersion perfectly intact. There were probably some fans back then decades ago that probably thought WWE was even real. That's how secure the whole operation was with no internet. Of course, nowadays, things are different, and we get to see both the characters on screen and a look at their personal lives through social media. It has a few great features. If you want to tweet at your favorite superstar and tell them that they had a great match tonight, then you could do that. It's easier to connect with your favorite superstars compared to how it was back then. But the internet also has its negatives, like the WWE dirt sheet websites, and of course the unfortunate situation with Sonya Deville, which started through the fan using social media. Maybe it's not what he meant, but I got the impression that Jim wanted them to find a kayfabe way to cover up this situation. But you can't do that. That's distasteful and horrible considering what these two women had to experience that night. A horrific night that we'll obviously never forget. Then on top of that, after everything that went through that night, Jim wants them to be fired and lose their job for it? That's terrible. They didn't ask for this to happen. This wasn't their fault at all, so why would they lose their job over it? We have to be thankful that we don't have people like that actually running WWE, because imagine you go through this horrible event that happens to break kayfabe. Well, now you're out of a job as well because of that same horrible event. Just obviously horrible. So that was my main issues with some of the things he had to say. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville were actually doing a great job of keeping their friendship hidden for the storyline. Remember that Mandy and Sonya were on that WWE boat party together a few months ago, and they were never seen together in any pictures. So they did put the effort in hiding their friendship. But when something this serious happens, you can't cover it up. Mandy Rose and Sonya are witnesses and the victims, so they have to tell all the truth about that night. Let's switch things up and get into another update regarding the WWE Thunderdome. We are just entering week 2 of the Thunderdome, and the fans have already been a nightmare to manage for WWE. There were a lot of things that took place during the first week of virtual fans that got them banned for life from the Thunderdome. There were some extreme situations, and there were a few light situations as well. There was one fan that was literally asleep during the programming, and that's not what WWE wants to see at all. There was also one fan that reportedly banned for wearing Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley merchandise. Yeah, technically the Dean Ambrose shirt is WWE merchandise, but you get the idea of what the fan was doing here. They were trying to be funny by wearing Jon Moxley's old WWE merchandise, and it ended up getting them kicked from the virtual arena. There was also one incident where a fan was cheering and chanting for Big E during the match, but they were kicked out because they thought the fan was saying other things. It's been a big headache first week for the virtual fans, but WWE is continuing to crack down and take out all these trolling fans. There's even a new report that says WWE will start to put more trustworthy fans towards the front rows and put lesser-known fans in the very back just in case they try anything. And once you prove yourself to be a loyal virtual fan, that's probably when you'll slowly make your way up to the front row. I really like that idea, and I think it should have been like that since day one. It's pretty risky to give a random fan a front row seat because you just never know. There was also another rumor that they tried having an instructor for the fans to tell them when to clap, when to put their thumbs down, and so on. That report was met with mixed reactions online, but I sort of like the idea. Majority of the fans just look so zoned out and bored at times. So it looks good when they're all clapping in unison and actually showing a reaction. Like during SummerSlam's closing moments when Bray Wyatt won the Universal title, the camera zoomed out and there was a really nice angle of The Fiend holding up the title and all the fans clapping in the background. It looked really nice visually for the camera and for the viewers at home. Is it weird that they're telling you when to boo and cheer? Yeah, it is, but we needed it. We needed to see them have some sort of expression to what they're watching, so I don't mind the instructor, to be quite honest with you. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Do you agree with Jim's comments about Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville being fired? What are your thoughts on fans getting banned for Jon Moxley merchandise as well? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.